Hey folks, so we just had like a major red flag, like a line was fully crossed. Like we've been dancing around this for a little bit now, but when a president of the United States essentially calls for Congress members to hang, calling what they said seditious behavior when all they said was restating the law, restating what is covered in the oath of enlistment for soldiers, their constitutional commitment when they serve us. They do not serve a man. The president has authority, it's commander-in-chief. He has authority over all our soldiers to give orders, but they only are to follow lawful orders. And our soldiers, I know, because I'm a veteran of a foreign war. I served for 8 years in the New York Army National Guard. So I understand this stuff. I swore the oath. I swore to defend our nation from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. If you really want to have a fun discussion, ask me who I think the enemies are right now, domestically. So the thing is, that is a direct call for violence. We know what the MAGA base is. They are a violent cult, worse than Nazi mob. Those people that still follow this Republican Party, that man, they are a threat. They are such a domestic threat. And him saying this on his Truth Social is a red line that is way crossed now. Now, here's what else I want to say about this. Besides the fact that I think he must immediately be impeached, convicted, removed, and then indicted for his, systematically indicted for his many other crimes. I think there should be a whole mess of amicus briefs presented to the Supreme Court with the intent for them to revisit this made up out of whole cloth immunity decision that they gave to Trump. And the way that they constructed it is malicious. Do I think it'll change their mind? I don't know, but I think it should be on the record historically for posterity that the people responded with essentially in legal language, but in layman's terms, it would be like, well, 1, what the fuck was that? 2, what the hell were you thinking? And 3, hi, Frankenstein, meet your monster. Like, Trump has committed, and the party have committed so many goddamn crimes. There's so many violations of international law, so many violations of U.S. law, human rights violations, here, there, and everywhere. There's just too many to list. I would need to sit down and go over everything. I could be making content from now until probably 10 years from now and basically not stop posting videos because there's so much, which is the point. That was like Steve Bannon's thing. He said flood the zone with shit, and then while they're picking up on this or that, we'll get all of our evil shit done. He didn't say evil, but I'm saying evil because it's fucking evil. When you hurt society on purpose for your own gain, your own interest, that's fucking evil. Especially when you know it. So what I would like people to focus on, in addition to the fact that this asshole should be impeached, and he's not likely to because the Republicans have no goddamn spine, and also they are not fit for survival. Like in general, right-wingers are not fit for survival. They do not have really any of the essential skills to survive because of their severe limitations caused by their worldview and their vicious cycle of misinformation and misunderstanding about literally everything. Like their supremacist views, which are garbage, their racialized view of things, which is garbage, their dehumanization of so many other people and other groups, their misunderstanding of all things like economics, their just ravenous anti-intellectualism, anti-science, anti-reality. Anyway, I'm going on. The point I really want to make here is what Trump is reacting to is the fact that they are focusing on telling our military, be careful, do not follow unlawful orders. We have your back. Because it is difficult in the military to one, know if the orders you are being given are lawful or not. Many of them are clear. Many orders are clear. And generally, the expectation is what's being done is lawful. There's a legal framework that backs them up. But where things get really messy is when you have leadership that are clearly doing things that are illegal, or they're within this gray boundary area where we're not sure. And the problem for the troops is they get that order, they follow that order, and it turns out to be illegal. Now they have to face legal consequences under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And I've heard many soldiers stupidly say, better to be judged by 12 than to be carried by 6. I had conversations with those gentlemen every single time I heard that in person. And I of course, I was respectful, and I understand. I try my best to understand where their thinking is. Soldiers have a difficult job, especially when they're operating in the forward, like in action, when they're taking on fire. They are protective of their troops. They will do their best to make sure that everyone they can help makes it home. But the problem is, sometimes in those situations, soldiers end up doing things that are illegal, and then they are later judged by 12. They're subject to prosecution. So there's too many people that have this authoritarian mindset that just because somebody in a position of authority, no matter what they do or ask of you, you have to do it. And that is not in accordance with the law. That's not in accordance with our Constitution. There are all sorts of things that govern our behavior here and around the world. We have the Geneva Conventions for a reason. Atrocities have happened, and what we have learned from them, that is where law comes from. So we do not end up repeating those things. And people keep reminding folks that I was just following orders was not sufficient. It was disregarded as an excuse at the Nuremberg trials. And I think that standing should hold. For when people are judged, like ICE, like CBP, like all the members of this regime, who should go down. I don't know if they will, but they should. I say all that to say this. I think what Trump is freaking out about is the fact that it is clear that there have been illegal orders. Like the strikes in the Caribbean are clearly illegal. Courts are saying that the deployments using the Guard in our cities were illegal. Like they just got told to pull out of Washington. I know I'm going to get pushed back from people on the right because they're being exposed to different media than I am. And listen, I am doing my best to be respectful here of all people. I'm not trying to cast aspersions against large groups of people. Okay? I served my country. If you have respect for veterans, please at least hear me out. Okay? If our Constitution means anything to you, please listen to me. If you say you care about law and order, please listen to me. If people get to basically just throw the law out the window, then what? Like, I'm hearing people continue to support the Republican administration and what's going on in Gaza. Those are justifications for slaughtering human beings with this unholy alliance with our government, our money, our weaponry, our AI surveillance companies and military contractors to find human beings. The majority of them, you have to look into this for yourself, but the majority of the people being slaughtered in Gaza are innocent human beings. The reason why people keep saying it's Hamas this, it's Hamas that, is they're trying to dehumanize people. They're trying to get people to go along with accepting the slaughter of innocent human beings. You may think that's fine because you don't see Palestinians as human beings. I would suggest go meet some in person. You can find them. Go find groups. Go in with an open mind and go talk to them. Talk to them about normal shit. They're just like you and me. What's happening in the United States with them racially profiling people, doing these Kavanaugh stops. It was the Supreme Court that overturned a precedent that like, you can't do racial profiling. He said, well, yeah, you can, because the government is claiming falsely that there's this crazy number of illegal people that are here illegally, accepting that the government is claiming that they're just going to be stopped briefly and questioned and, treated humanely, which is not happening. These people are being brutalized. People are being disappeared. People have been hospitalized. People have been sent to third countries that they've never been to, or back to countries they haven't been since they were a kid, may not even speak the language. They have nothing. This stuff is wrong, and it's happening to citizens now too. I don't think it should happen to anybody. We have due process for a reason. If something is going to happen to you, like if you have basically broken laws that are worthy of deporting you, we have laws on the books for that. You get due process, you get legal representation, and then, you get legal removal. All that stuff was happening under Obama, under Biden, without invading our cities, with this lawless, masked Gestapo that is ICE, and then CBP that's Customs and Border Patrol, which is like basically operating almost with impunity, but the tables are turning a little bit on that. They're getting snarled up in court a whole bunch, but if you're in a right-wing echo chamber, you're not hearing about it. So let me just plug real quick a source of information, which is kind of like an aggregator in a way of like news sources, like Ground News. I have an affiliate relationship with them because I really worry about people's media literacy today. I worry about controlled narratives. I worry about things like manufactured consent by our government. Both establishment parties do it. And then our so-called interests, like this unholy alliance with Israel. Like, listen, let me talk about Israel another time. Israel is a state. I'll just cover it real quick. Israel is a state. I just think that we need to have a fully democratic state, respective of human rights for all people. That could have been the case. Sort of was the case from the very beginning. That was the expectation from the very beginning. And then you have Israeli settlers going in and stealing Palestinian land and homes. And then on and on and on it goes. Nobody should accept that. Nobody should accept settler colonialism. What needs to happen is decolonization, respect human rights, and liberation for Palestinian people that have been harmed. Palestinian people have been actually the victim in all this stuff. And Israelis, they put themselves in a much worse position by committing or allowing their government to continue to commit atrocities against human beings. Gaza was a proving ground for what they're now doing here in the United States. So I say all that to say this. One, I can link you guys with a Ground News, my affiliate link. You can get 40% off the Vantage plan. What that does is you get to see how stories are being covered by lots of different media sources. It gives you the general overall bias on how something is covered, a story is covered. It tells you the bias of the source. It tells you a factuality rating. The Vantage plan gives you access to see who owns the media source, which definitely has an impact on how things are covered. More and more of our media today is owned by right-wing billionaires. There's great consolidation, which is a bad thing. We have something like 96% of our media is owned by right-wing billionaires. That doesn't mean that everything is necessarily far-right biased, but there's definitely heavy favoritism to right-wing kind of coverage, and then establishment defense. But you get opposition against left-wing information, left-wing ideological critiques of what's going on, which biases everyone to the right, and you have to go trotting out independent media. You have to actually do critical analysis yourself to actually have a better understanding of what's actually going on, because leftists are committed to the truth, objective reality, and actually solving problems, human problems. Egalitarianism is what we're after in most cases. That's why, socialism has a heavy emphasis on more control over the means of production, meaning we should have, if it's a factory you're talking about, the workers that work there basically own the thing, and access to the things that we need to produce those things. And we make the decisions. We share the, the benefits, and also we share the burden. Not some tiny sector of the population that owns everything and controls all of it, limits us. So if you're interested in ground news, check out my affiliate link. You don't get charged anything extra for using my affiliate link. I might get a small commission. It's like next to nothing, basically. It's like $35 a month, I think, or $35 for the year. I forget what the price is. I should know, but I haven't looked at it in a while. Anyway, it's cheap. It's pretty cheap to stay informed, to get access to that much information. It's not healthy to be in the bubble. Like, I look at the right-wing stuff. I look at the centrist stuff. I look at the left coverage. I try to make sure I understand things. So all that, I just want to focus on the fact that, like, we're saying, and people don't just say what the regime is doing, what the president is ordering has the appearance of being illegal, and has the appearance of being a war crime. And back when they first started bombing these boats, they had legal representation initially in the room, and seasoned military personnel were like, this is not, and they left. That this is not legal. I can't get on board with this, and they kicked the JAG officers out of the room. So there's problems here, and there's gonna be a reckoning at some point. And our allies stop sharing information with us, because I think they don't want to get pulled into the war crimes being committed. There's a lot of movement happening right now around the world, like moving away from supporting Israel and going in the opposite direction. They're saying that they should be sanctioned. They should be like Netanyahu and his cabinet should be arrested. There should be a bit of a legal reckoning with these people. And I think we're starting to see that direction from the world in response to the United States and the Republican regime and Trump. So Trump doesn't want people to talk about the fact that what they're doing is illegal. That's basically what it is. They don't want it to be challenged, and they don't like the idea that our military might think, I don't think it's a good idea to be doing anything that they're asking us to do. Now, they'll follow lawful orders, but they'll think twice about some of the stuff that has the strong appearance of being illegal. It's just really challenging to disobey orders, because there's a whole process that follows that, and that is very difficult for soldiers to go through. However, if it turns out they're right, there's no criminal penalty there. But the current environment makes it challenging, because this regime is going to punish people, especially military personnel, that do any kind of dissent. Like, there were soldiers that said outwardly that we will not follow unlawful orders. It's not something that typically happens, but then again, we're not really used to having people in power that are doing highly questionable things, very possibly illegal things. So, I mean, I've thought about this from the beginning. I'm like, I'm glad I'm not serving right now. I'm glad I finished my contract in 2010 with my honorable discharge, because if I was asked to go somewhere, it seems like they're getting ready to go to Venezuela. It seems like they want to, we actually had an international incident. Our people landed in on the coast of Mexico or something. They put up some kind of signage or whatever. They're trying to mark some territory for some kind of operation or something. And Mexico responded, and they're like, no, we're not fucking having that shit. It's bad. You don't want to be part of an illegal operation, because you can be charged. It's not enough to say, I was just following orders. Because when you swear an oath, you're saying, I'll follow lawful orders and only lawful orders. You have a duty to disobey unlawful orders. And Trump is claiming that's seditious. In reality, what he just did was seditious. What he did on Jan 6th was seditious. Our Supreme Court should not have allowed him to even run again. Kamala Harris should not have sworn him in. She should have said, only one of us standing here is qualified to take the oath of office again. You have no legal right to take the oath of office again because you committed an act of insurrection. And then later, he gave aid and comfort to insurrectionists. Like, he's pardoned all the Jan 6ers. He's protecting members of Congress that aided and abetted that. It's not the first time he's called for members of Congress to hang. He promoted the idea from his MAGA base, who said hang Mike Pence. They say, yeah, I guess he deserves it because he didn't make things go my way. He didn't make the Joe Biden's win go away, as if Mike Pence had any power to do that or authority to do that. He didn't. Mike Pence had a ceremonial role. There's no, like, we're just going to decide we're going to do something else, which J.D. Vance hinted at the idea that he would have tried to do that, which is completely disqualifying. Anyway, be careful out there, guys. We're all Americans, and we're all human beings. Let's respect human rights. Let's call out things that are clear violations of the law, U.S. law, international law, violations of our Bill of Rights, violations of our Constitution. We're seeing this stuff. Learn to recognize it. Learn to understand the rhetoric. If you hear dehumanizing language, learn to recognize how dehumanizing language sounds. Look up, do some homework, do some reading on manufacturing consent. And what's the other one? Disaster capitalism. Naomi Klein has written some really good stuff on these topics. And then Taylor Lorenz just did a really good piece too, video about this former Obama speechwriter making some really insane comments about people's perception of what Israel's doing. Basically saying that they're being looked at like they are the Nazis now, which it's just what they are. They're the new Nazis. We have the Zionists in Israel, the IDF, Israeli government. We have the Christian Zionists. We have the Christian nationalists. We have the white supremacists. We have MAGA. We have the Republican Party. We have the AfD in Germany. And then there's different groups in other parts of the world too. Because capitalism is failing, so that's the late stage capitalism thing. When the system is falling down, the state has to crack down in order to maintain the status quo, to keep the train on moving. So people are getting desperate and they want simple answers on how to fix it. But these people have nothing to offer because fascists only destroy. And then they have incompetent leaders, incompetent people in important positions on purpose. So yeah, it's a problem. It's just, we're seeing nothing but grifting and heavily risky bets. I mean, guys, they're promising our annihilation essentially with this AI investment, this AI promise. I don't want to ever hear Republicans, these new Nazis, worse than Nazis. I should say that the people that I said are like our Nazis today, I mean, they're different than the previous Nazis. They are worse. They are worse than the Nazis because they are aware of the atrocities and they're still going, oh yeah, it's great. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. What the fuck happened to your humanity? Yeah, MAGA is like, oh, mass deportations, this will be a great thing. It's not. No, it's not. For so many reasons, it's not. That ain't working out. And I mean, you want to talk about people stealing jobs? AI is promising to eliminate all of our jobs, and they don't have a plan for us. Nothing. They have no plan for what happens when all the jobs are gone. And also, how does the economy continue on when people have no money? How do people live? No answers. Nothing. And you guys are supporting this. You're supporting your own annihilation. That's the problem with fascism. You get all, bent out of shape with a bunch of stupid, who do I hate? Who do I hate? Who do I hate? I gotta own the libs. I gotta own the libs. Meanwhile, the world is fucking falling down around you. Everything's fucked right now by every fucking measure. Wake up, guys. Please. From one American to the rest of the fucking world, man. Veteran of a foreign war. I swore an oath. Defend our nation from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Honor our Constitution and defend it. Follow lawful orders. As a civilian now, I get to choose. I get to choose my path, how I serve my country, my fellow people. My view of things is more broad than just serving our nation. We are one people around the planet. We all may look a little different, think a little different, but we're all people. And capitalism impacts all of us. These people in power are making decisions. They're making bets. And they're gambling, and they're gambling big on things that are potentially going to be extraordinarily destructive. Like maybe civilization ending. And if we push back, we get to say which direction it goes. It should be democratized on how we use these powerful tools. It shouldn't just be in the hands of a small few people, small handful of greedy people. You have concerns. I know your concerns are legitimate, but you're angry at the wrong people when you point to the left, when you point down. Look up. The people that actually have power are the ones that have impact on all of us. They're the ones that are hurting us, hurting you. All right. Take care, guys. I love all my people, even my confused people. I know, everybody winds up where they wind up, but it doesn't have to be static, especially when we have a misunderstanding of things. We can seek out information, talk to people, learn the reality, learn objective truth. That is a thing. It should matter more than anything else. Bye.